Hello, and welcome to episode 12 of the Knitting Traditions podcast. My name is Inga, and you can find me on Ravelry as Knitting Tradition and on Instagram as Knitting Traditions. It's between Christmas and New Year's right now. I'm from the west coast of Norway, and we call this romjul, which is the days between Christmas and New Year's. And I am wearing my second festive knitted garment for you guys, which is my other red garment. In the last episode I was wearing my Stockholm sweater, and this is a dress. It's a pattern by Pickles, which is a Norwegian designer. I think it's more than one designer, but they have this store in our capital and they produce their own yarns which they sell, and they have really nice colors, and their book is called Knit in Your Colors. So it has different patterns, but they're very modifiable, so you can knit them in thinner or thicker yarn. Long sleeve, short sleeve, high neck, low neck, dress, sweater, t-shirt. You can modify them easily, and they focus a lot on how to choose the color that suits you based on your hair and eyes and skin, etc. Welcome, by the way, if you're a new viewer. This is a podcast or vlogcast mainly about knitting, and if you're a returning viewer, I'm so glad to have you back here with me. I really wanted to record before the festive season ended, and I have 2 days now where I'm working, so my family went back home and they will return here tomorrow, so I thought I would squeeze in a little late night episode for you guys. Yes, so back to the sweater that I'm wearing. I knitted this in the Pickles yarn that's called Pickles Tweed. I don't have it here with me, so I can't show you a ball of it, but I've knitted 3 garments in this yarn. This dress, a t-shirt, and a green bolero, is it called that? Kind of top. I have it both on my Ravelry account and on Instagram if you scroll down. This one is really warm. I'm always really warm when I'm recording these episodes because I have the artificial lighting and I'm wearing wool inside, and I guess I'm also a little bit nervous talking to you guys. I guess it does get better, but it's still not natural for me to talk to myself on camera, so I'm pretending that I'm talking to you guys, and then when I read your comments I really do feel like we're friends and we're interacting, so that's really nice. So this is knit in 1 strand of yarn. I think you could also knit this in 2 strands, so this one is a little bit see-through, but I don't think it's that bad. I wear it next to skin with just my underwear on because it's really warm. And if I go outside, I have like wool stockings on, or pantyhose, or whatever you call it. And so this one I knit with the version of the taller, like a turtleneck, but it did soften up a lot after washing, so it became a little bit floppy. I think it would have been better if I knitted with 2 strands. But it's like a really nice tweedy yarn, and it's not, it's like an unspun almost, and it's quite uneven in thickness, so it does have even more of a tweedy effect. And I wear it with a belt when I want to look a little bit nicer, and it's like knee length almost, very proper of me. And it has like let's try not to flash you guys, a twisted rib. I made a twisted rib for the cuffs and the border down there, and as well as the neckline. So I guess if I didn't do a twisted rib, this might even stand up a little bit more, because the way I do twisted rib is that I knit the knit stitches through the back loop, but I purl the purl stitches regularly, and then it doesn't cinch in as much as if you knit one purl one the normal way. So but I do like the look of the twisted knit stitches more, and if I am making garments, I usually don't like it to cinch in, I just want it to be straight, so then that creates a more straight shape. So I don't know, I like it. It's my second knitted dress. I do have another one, which is I think the second garment I ever knit, and I just freestyled it. I kept trying it on as I was knitting, and I just decreased and increased to get like an hourglass shape, and it's really a nice dress. But I sew on or I knit the arms separately and then I sewed them on, and I sewed them on too tightly, and I know it's a quick fix to just, or it's not a quick fix because I would have to find the thread that I sewed it together with, but if I just unpicked that, I could sew it on again loosely and it would fit a lot better without having like a really tight shoulder part right here. So I might show you that in a future episode. But how are you guys? I am hoping that you're having a lovely Christmas holiday, and if you're not celebrating Christmas, that you're just having a lovely time. I had a great time with my family, and I did get a lot of knitting done, and I gifted most of it away. But I will try to put in a photo here. I made 5 pairs of socks in a week and a hat. I started making a pair of socks for my mom. I showed that on the last episode. It's the Lumi socks by Fiber Tales, a lovely pattern and such a quick knit. I whipped out a pair in a day. It's knit on 6mm needles, and it's using the Alafosslopi yarn, and it's just simple and lovely and the perfect indoor socks or slippers. So once I realized that it was going that quickly, I really wanted to make a pair for all of my family members and then embroider on our the first letter of our names and have that as like a Christmas stocking. We don't really have Christmas stockings in our Traditions here, the way that I know they have in the States. But my dad always used to put some candy, like a plastic sock with candy that you get in the store, under our pillows, or Santa did, on the 25th in the morning. But since we were celebrating here this year and they had a lot of things in the car, they couldn't really bring any food or extra things, so I decided that I would make socks, and that way we kind of keep our little candy tradition, and also they could wear them, and it will be like a little extra gift, because we open all our gifts on Christmas Eve, so that way it kind of prolonged it a little bit when everyone woke up the next morning and they had another present. And everyone was wearing the socks when they were here every day, even my dad, and he doesn't like knitwear, I think, so that made me really happy to see. I didn't manage to make my pair finished before the 25th. I was even knitting my brother's second socks on Christmas Eve. Pretending that they asked me actually, like, what are you making? I said, oh, it's gifts for the people at work. I'm gonna felt it down and give it before I finish. And then the next morning they got them, so that was funny. But I couldn't manage to make my pair in time, so I used an old pair that I knit for myself a year ago, and now it's dirty because I was wearing it as well. This pair was the first one I made when she just released her pattern, and I skipped doing the slipped stitches that she has in the front and back. I don't know why. I think I was lazy or maybe at that time I had never done a slipped stitch and I just couldn't be bothered. And I also made the toe differently. She has the slip stitch and you just closed it at the end, but I did a Kitchener stitch on my toe. I don't know why, I don't even remember. But to make mine matching with theirs, I embroidered my letter because my name is INGA. So I made the I, and this was the simplest one to make because it's straight lines. For my mother, it was a B, my father an N, my brother K and J. So they all had like a diagonal or a curved letter. And I'm not good at embroidering, I just freestyled it, but I think it looked fine and they were happy with it, so I really like that. So I made myself another pair because I love wearing these inside and I sleep with them when it's really cold because this is the warmest wool ever. So I made myself a proper one according to pattern with a big eye, and it has the slip stitches as instructed in the front and in the back, and the proper toe, which includes shaping so that you have like a right and a left toe. It basically gives you more space for your big toe, which is nice. And for me to remember which foot is what, I put the letter on the outside of the right foot for everyone. And so this, I made the braid in the same color as I did for my dad because I do love my browns. And I think you'll see today a proof of that based on what I've been working on. So I have another pair. I haven't washed them yet, but yeah, I'm really happy with them. I used an electrical pill remover on my old ones to get rid of the pilling because it is a yarn that's not very tightly spun and it's not super wash. It doesn't have any nylon and it's quite hairy. I don't know if you can see that. It has like long hairs, so it does get a bit pills like this. See, I've already got some new ones, but I just use my electrical pill remover. They sell them here in like normal hardware stores. We have one store called Clas Ohlson. That's where I got mine, and I just took that over it, and it ate away the pills. So now I have 2 socks for me. The pattern has 3 sizes. So I made the smallest for me and my mom, and then my dad got the largest and it looked quite large, so I made the medium for my brothers, and I think it fit everyone really nicely. So this is a great gift knitting project because I think most people would love them, and they're super quick, and the Alafosslopi yarn is quite affordable. I think in the store in Norway, in the local yarn store, they sell it for $8. So, and you need two skeins to make a pair, and then you have some left over. So I think when I had knitted 3 pairs, I could make the 4th one from the scraps, or maybe, yeah, something like that. And you can use any contrast yarn for the Latvian braid. I had Alafosslopi in contrast yarns, but you could use any yarn and just hold it double, triple, triple, whatever you need to make it the same thickness, and that will work out perfectly fine. This brown one is actually not Alafosslopi. It was a fritidsgarn by Sandnes that they had in my local yarn store here because they only carry a Sandnes garn, another Norwegian producer, and it had the same thickness. So it's a bit softer, but it looks exactly the same when you knit it up. So maybe in the future I can also use that, and it was even more affordable than the Alafosslopi. So quite a chunky weight yarn for these. And actually today my cousin called me. They had a sale in the local yarn store in Førde, which is where I'll be moving soon, and the sale was on this yarn, and I just used up almost all of my Alafosslopi yarn for my stash making these 5 pairs of socks. And I was talking about this before, that I do really want to make myself another sweater in Alafosslopi for wearing outside, in lighter colors. And so I couldn't resist getting some Alafosslopi since it was on sale. So she got me 2 sweater quantities on my behalf. So of course I paid for it myself. So she was in the store with FaceTime, and I was at home here with FaceTime looking through my pattern book and telling her how many skeins of each color I needed. And then it was a bit difficult because the colors on camera look different than in real life, she said. So she was helping me trying to figure out which colors to choose. And spoiler alert, it's earth tones, like browns and greens and beige. But one of them actually has some blue in it, because I did get inspired by the Mohair sweater that I made. That blue brings out the warm orangey tones. So that is a contrast color in one of the 2 sweaters. So I'm excited to show you when I move back to Førde, because I told her to just keep it there, because in a month's time I'll be moving anyway and staying with her. So there's no point in her bringing it here and then back. I have plenty of yarn here to keep me satisfied until then. I don't know about you guys. Are you the kind of knitter that only buys yarn for what you're making right now? Like a good, proper, controlled, what's it called? When you have, I don't know what the word I'm looking for. Not restrictions, but you're well behaved. No. Let's just say there's 2 types of knitters, in my opinion. You have those who have restraint, and they get only what they need for the project, and then they make it, and then they get some more yarn for the next project. Or, people are also on a budget, and I used to be that person. I would only buy yarn for whatever I was making, and I saved up for the next one. And as I've been more fortunate and I'm no longer a student and I'm earning money and saving, I have gone more into the other genre, where my yarn stash has become a hobby of its own. I almost get as much pleasure from acquiring yarn and just dreaming about all the possibilities that I can make out of that yarn. That's almost gives me as much of a pleasure as knitting with it, and sometimes almost even more, if that's allowed to say. I'm of course very fortunate to be able to have a yarn stash as a hobby, but I also do know that I will make something from all of it. And maybe some of my oldest stash, if I end up not making it for myself and I can't find anyone else who would love to get something made from that yarn, I can always donate it to our local schools, because we do teach children to knit at school here, and it's always appreciated to get some yarn for them. So I have no doubt that everything in my stash will be used. And I was actually thinking about maybe doing like knit from stash cowl in 2021 after we finish the rustic cowl, just to give a little bit of love to the yarn that we have. And I definitely love going into my stash and just rummaging through and picking out something for my next projects. So these gifts were all made from stash, and I guess I just got some more for my stash. But it is a lovely yarn, and I am looking forward to making some sweaters as well. And whatever leftovers I have, I can use for more socks, or for the contrast colors if I have like just some small scraps. So that's gonna be nice. And my brothers really loved the cowls that they got. They got the Zigzag and the vikafjell cowl, and I felted both of their cowls and mine after we went skiing up on the mountain because it was -7, and when it's windy it gets really, really cold. Even though you're moving and sweating inside your ski outfit, everything else, like your hands and your neck and head, can get quite chilly. So we all agreed that we wanted to felt our cowls to make them fit more tightly, stand up over our faces like this. And I can put it on. And when you felt it, it gets thicker and it gets more windproof. So I think this is the selbu cowl, and with the gauge, which is 26 stitches, and the amount of stitches, this gives you a 60 centimeters circumference after knitting it, and I felted it down to be 28 stitches. And as you see, the pattern still shows. I was a bit worried about it disappearing, but it didn't. So it still shows up quite nicely, and it has more of a fuzzy halo, and it's not really see-through anymore. The stitches are quite close together now that I felted it. So this is really nice and warm now. So I'm really glad that I did. And my brothers also really enjoyed it getting felted because it makes it a lot softer and warmer, which is what we were all looking for when we were out in the snow. And we're going skiing again for New Year's Eve, and we will all be wearing our cowls. So maybe I'll have to make some for my parents as well, maybe for next year. I don't know if they'll wear it, but my father told me that he watches all my episodes, so you can let me know, Dad, if you want something knitted. And speaking of warm things, I finished my Flor Mittens. I don't think they were finished last time. I don't think so. If they were, I'm sorry. Repeat. I finished my Flor Mittens by Ystabø Gull. It's a Norwegian yarn producer, and they also make this pattern. It's in Norwegian, but it's charted. So the chart looks like this and this. So you could always just follow the chart and then add the Latvian braid if you'd like to. I really do enjoy the effect of the Latvian braid, and it's so easy to make. Like, don't be afraid. It's just knit and purl stitches, but you hold the yarn to the front of your work and you twist them around each other. The same way you would twist yarn around each other in the back when you're catching your floats, right? Like this, except you do it in the front and always twist it the same way, and the next round the other way. So that makes a Latvian braid. And there's so many videos. So I was really happy with these ones. They are so warm, and they also felt a little bit when you're sweating and skiing and rubbing it against the sticks, staffs, poles, the things you ski with. I'll put videos at the end of this video of us walking with snow boots and cross-country skiing, which is our new favorite way of skiing. And these were a lot warmer than my professional cross-country skiing gloves, which are like a fleece kind of fabric, and it's really good for gripping, but they're not as warm. These were a lot warmer. My youngest brother was actually wearing 2 pairs of gloves, but his hands was so cold, while the rest of him was really warm. So I told him, hey, let's just switch. My hands are almost sweaty. These were so warm. So he borrowed these and they warmed him straight up. So nothing better than like scratchy rustic wool for giving you warmth. And hands are not as sensitive, so I think most people could wear this even though they're sensitive, unless they're like allergic. I guess some people are allergic to lanolin, which is the oils produced by the sheep. You could wash that out. I'm pretty sure I'm allergic to that, but who cares? It's worth it. And I made another one. Can you see that I have like a color preference? I don't know. Is it obvious? I don't think so. I made myself another hat by Petiteknit. This is Oslo-luen, or the Oslo hat. And I have made 2 of these before. This is made in Arwetta, which is a superwash yarn. It's the one that she uses in her pattern. And my forehead is quite sensitive. So for me, this is okay. It's not that warm, but it does have a triple layer over your ears, so that helps with the wind. And I hope to make this maybe again in a different yarn, but the colors in this are just so lovely. And like, that's the thing about superwash yarns. I do have several skeins in my stash of superwash yarns because they have, in my opinion, the best colors. There's something about superwash yarns and just making colors pop more. It just seems like it has more of a shine, and especially with like speckled yarns, I think it turns out really nicely on superwash yarns. However, I am learning as I'm knitting more that I do prefer wearing non-superwash just because it feels warmer and I'm always cold and it pills less, I think, with the more rustic, harsher yarns. But the color is everything. So I had this in my stash already, and I was talking about it a few episodes ago that I got a few more for this hat. And the plan was that the leftovers from this would make me be able to make a sweater or top from the other one that I already had in my stash. So this knit up really quickly. Love the color. However, I think I made the junior size because I have a tiny head, and I did as well for the other ones. The other hats, I knit the top part shorter because I don't like to have like the... Sorry for the upcoming expression, but I think that when they have the upcoming thing, it looks like a condom. Like a condom hat. Sorry. I prefer the more like the bowler hat kind of look, where it's like fitted on the head. So this one I did according to pattern, and I prefer the other one that I made, which was a little bit shorter. I have a ponytail on now, but like it has a little bit of space, like not a lot of space, but a little bit. And I want it to be like this, but then I can't see anything, right? So, but I wanted it to be able to cover my ears well, because when it's windy, it kind of blows right through. But with this, it has the 3 layers. So that's good for keeping the ears more protected. And it being a merino superwash, there is like no itch factor, which is good for my forehead. But I think also a non-superwash merino would work really well. I just haven't been able to find any here. And the colors, amazing. So if you want to make yourself a hat that looks like the modern store-bought hat, this is a really good design for that. She also likes to put like labels here. I'm not really into that label look, so I keep mine plain. But holy, this part right here takes a lot of knitting. Like what you see here, you make it like this long, you knit this tube, and then you fold it, and then you reverse, and I don't know, you fold it like 3 times. Like this is 2 layers, and then another one here. So it's a lot of knitting for one hat. It uses 2.5 skeins, which is a lot considering I made my socks Mohair with like 3/4 of 1 skein. So there's a lot of yarn in here, but you do hold it double, so yes. Quick in the way that you just knit in the round, but not quick in the way that you have to knit a lot to make a small piece of garment. But it's worth it if you like the look of it. I really do like it, and I'll probably make more in the future. Me and my cousin was actually knitting on this at the same time without planning it. She was making a green one, which was a really nice one as well. So, but yeah, I don't wear that many hats. I do wear a lot of headbands as well because I like to put my hair up when it's so long. But yeah, no, it's a great pattern. I really like it. And when my cousin was here, she did help me finish carding up my fiber, and that was a process. I'm pretty sure I gave myself a tennis elbow. I was actually worried that I unscrewed some of the screws in my elbow after my surgery this summer, because it does feel a little bit protruding right here. But my mom said it feels like the same, so maybe I'm just being paranoid. But I am worried that my constant like knitting motion and then the carding was kind of unscrewing the screws, but we'll just say that that didn't happen. It's probably fine. It's probably just a tennis elbow that's hurting. So yeah, I made like rolags out of 3 different sheep breeds from the farms here. So this one is the Norwegian white sheep, the Dala sow, and it has a lot of crimp in it. It's a very common sheep breed. I have carded up about 800 grams of this, and I'm not sure how it will spin up, but I'll let you know when I eventually get around to that. And then I have the Norwegian wild sheep, which is this one. And this is the oldest Norwegian sheep breed. It has a lot of fiber and not as much wool. It's a smaller sheep. But this is the sheep breed, the wild sheep. It has the long fibers outside, and then on the inside it has a really soft, shorter, more crimped wool, which is more like the Dala sow, but softer. And this one carded up really well because of the straight fibers. I think I have 1.3 kilos of this one. So that is a lot of fiber from one sheep. Because this was one sheep. I know that one of the sheep here is called Princess. She is like the diva or the boss sheep of the other ones. And I'm guessing this is her sister. Because Princess hadn't been cut yet when I got this fiber. And this is the softest, most precious of the 3. This is the Norwegian Dala sow, which the fibers looked like angel hairs. They have like a really nice curl, not a crimp, but like a actual curl. And it's really soft, and I'm loving the silvery tone of the fiber. And this I have about 1 kilo of. So I am really excited. I'm not sure which one of the 3 I will start spinning with. I need a bit of practice. I do really want to make some sweater worthy yarn out of this one, because I do want to knit myself a sweater in my favorite fiber. Because my favorite yarn, which I've said repeatedly, is the Tynn from Hillesvåg, and that uses the Norwegian pelt sheep, this one. And I'm not sure yet if I will try myself at dyeing the skeins once I've made them. I do really like how walnuts color yarn, the natural dyeing. Fiber Tales did some skeins with walnuts, and it's the prettiest thing I've ever seen. So I might try myself at that, maybe with the whites. I don't know, we'll see. This is really precious, so I don't want to ruin all my hard work with trying to color yarn or dye yarn for the first time. So I'll see what I will do. I'll let you know. And Christmas came early, or Easter. This is a present from Mohair, And I haven't opened this yet because I'm moving, and I figured anything that's already vacuum packed, taking less space, is wonderful. So she wanted to thank me for mentioning her sweater on the podcast, because apparently people from all over the world has contacted her and made her really happy. So she sent me the yarn to make an Easter sweater. So I don't know, this screams Easter to me. And I'm really excited to make this. I think I will probably cast it on in March to have it ready for Easter. I don't know which days Easter falls on, but I want to have it ready before Easter is over, at least. So this will be a really loud Easter sweater, and I love it. Speaking of gifts, my cousin and uncle and aunt gave me some yarn for Christmas. So these are Rauma Finul, and these will be perfect for making any of my cowls, so maybe I will use them for that. I haven't decided yet. I love these colors. The green and the rust is very my color palette. So I'm excited to make something lovely with my gifts. And my brothers also knew what I wanted for Christmas. They got me some books with patterns. So this book is called Strikk som I Latvia sokker, which means knit as in Latvia socks. So it has 50 different sock designs in here, and I really love this one on the cover especially. It's really nice that you could do the color work and then have the bottom of the feet plain when you're doing all your heel turns and toes and whatnot. And it really does have a lot of beautiful patterns in here. So I think a lot of these would be really nice to make. And the other brother also got me a knitting book. This is called Strikk svenske mønster, which means knit Norwegian patterns. And it has sock patterns, but it also has some cardigans and sweaters. So there's some lovely photos where they use traditional patterns in newer designs. And there are some really nice ones in here. So I'm really excited to enjoy these books and patterns. And oh, I really like this photo. I already showed these socks, but I think this is really nice. Very Swedish looking. I always think of Sweden when I see blue. Maybe that's because their flag is yellow and blue. So those were some lovely gifts that I got. And we have, I have more knitting. I always worry that I'm not gonna have enough, but I guess if I just keep talking, it's enough in the end. So I've been wanting to make some socks without nylon for a long time. So I finally got some yarn to make this. And this, to me, this color is not blue. It's a eucalyptus minty green kind of color to me. And it has a lovely halo of mohair. And I just knit this up the way my grandma taught me. And I got these two. This is Sunday by Petiteknit and Sandnes garn. They did a collaboration to make this yarn. And it's 100% merino, non-superwash, no nylon, nothing like that. But it's very tightly spun. I don't know if you can see that without it blowing out. It's quite tightly spun. So I figured this one together with a silk mohair could work for socks. So this is a thin silk mohair by Sandnes garn. And I got one of each, and I think it will be enough. I just got to the heel turn or heel flap, of my second sock. And I cast on 64 stitches on 2.25 millimeters. But this yarn together with the silk mohair is quite thick. It might not look that thick, but the mohair definitely gives it more substance, or whatever you want to call it. So it got quite a tightly knit fabric on 2.25. I could probably have knit this on 4 millimeters or 3.5 for a garment. So it's quite a tight fabric, and I saw when I was knitting the cuff that 64 stitches for my foot will be too big. So I decreased 4 stitches around here, so having 60 stitches, and then I decreased further down to 54 here, and it will fit like a glove or a sock. So I am going to wear these quite roughly. I will wear them at work, in my shoes, kind of give it a lot of friction from daily wear and see how it holds up, because I'm really curious to see if silk mohair will work well. It's going to be really warm though. Just trying these on, they were really warm, and I think that owes to the silk mohair component of the sock. So it's going to be interesting to see. And it being Christmas and all, I'm putting it in my Christmas sock bag from the Urban Stitcher. So this has been giving me a lot of joy after finishing my thicker socks. But of course it's a bit slower when it's on thinner needles. And for the last 2 days I have been knitting on my cabled sweater because I had some time to myself, and this is not something that I can knit on when I have people around me, because there is something happening on every row. So I can't really talk to anyone. So I've done, since the last time, I've knitted all of this. And that's a lot of knitting, okay? It is. Even though it doesn't look like a lot of rows, when you have to do something on everyone, it is. And I'm knitting it with the cinnamon color of Super Soft from Holst, held double. And let's see how far I have gotten without ripping the yarn. Let's see. So I want this to be able to fit both me and the men in my family. So I guess underneath the sleeves right now it's this long, and I think this is good enough. I think it's long enough now to, and even if the sleeves are a bit longer, it'll be probably here on me. So I think this is a good length to start knitting the front and back on its own, back and forth. And then I'll do satin sleeves, or I'll pick up stitches and knit the sleeves downwards. Haven't decided. But I think that will be a good size to fit me and family members, and it will be a lovely heirloom piece. And yeah, there's a lot of cabling going on, and I think I will use this cable on the sleeves as well, but we'll see. So this is just a pattern that I've made up myself, and I think it's turning out quite nicely. I did hear on another podcast, Unico Knits. She's a new podcaster. I think she has 2 episodes out. She's really sweet, and she had made a sweater in Holst Super Soft, and she said that when you wash it up, it does get a lot softer and a bit floppy on like the ribbed border on the sleeves. But then again, I'm not looking for that cinched in look, so I think that's fine that it's floppy, because I don't have this look that wants to kind of stay on the body. It's gonna be loose anyway. And I'm going to do the same for the sleeves. I'm not gonna have the fitted sleeves. I'm gonna have like this kind of sleeve. But I might have to rethink my idea of doing a turtleneck, because I don't really want this thing happening again, like a floppy turtleneck. Not for this sweater. I don't think that will look as nice. So I might just do a double folded knitted border for the neck or something. We'll see. But yes, this has been a lot of knitting and I'm excited to start working on the back and front and figuring out how to do the neck. So that's what I've been working on for the past 2 days. And I am actually wearing my Holst super soft gigantic blanket, which I knit in like a knit one, purl one, and it is a lot softer after washing it. It's because of all the spinning oils. So I think the sweater too will be really nice and soft. This one is knit with the 1 strand though, and the sweater with 2. So this is thinner, but still really warm. So I think that's gonna be interesting. And we did a giveaway last time because we reached 10,000 subscribers. So thank you so much. And if you haven't already subscribed and you want to see more videos, just hit the subscribe below. And as a thank you to all of you who have done that, I am going to draw a winner of the prize. And the prize was this bucket, which I got for you guys. It's a storage bucket. I use mine for my project and yarn for my upcoming projects. And inside the basket you get the pattern for Angie Bunny, which is a crocheted bunny by Granny Knit. And you also get a traveling toolkit, which I showed in the last episode if you want to see. It has most of the things you could ever need for your projects. And also a skein from West Green Loft Yarns. And she had the blush and the oatmeal. And these are non-superwash 100% Shetland yarns that she gave to me. And they are so soft. So one of these are in the giveaway. Whoever wins gets to choose. So on that note, I think, yes, that was everything. And on that note, I wanted to draw the winner. So there was over 10,000 comments, right? No, that's too much. It was more than 1,000 comments. And I'm using the commentpicker.com. Let's see. So the comment picker, you just put in the URL for your YouTube. Oh, did my computer just die? No. Oh, no. We're good. And then, let's see. Let's pick one. And the winner is Ingrid Pedersen, or Ingrid Peterson. I'm not sure if she's Scandinavian or not, but it is a name that we do have here, both in Norway, Denmark, and probably Sweden. And she writes, "Your podcast has inspired me to knit so much more. I love sitting and knitting along with you in the evenings after work. I'd love the blush color to make a hat for my sister who is having a birthday in January." Oh, that's really nice. I hope I can get the yarn to you before her birthday. That depends how far away you live. But I guess the post office will be open on Monday, so I'll get that right out. Just get in contact with me. So this is Ingrid Pedersen, like that. Yes. So I'll try and find your comment among the 1,000 and contact you, but please get in contact with me on Instagram or Ravelry or somehow. So I guess oh, and also we're still doing the rustic knit-along, which is a knit-along where you can knit whatever you want, and whips are allowed. You can crochet, just anything with somewhat minimally processed yarn. So natural fibers or plant fibers, but no synthetic fibers and none superwash. But this is just for this cowl. So if that's not your jam, we'll have other cowls. So I'm sure at one point you'll find something that you will enjoy joining. And Ystabø Gull got in contact with me. They want to donate 2 patterns for the rustic knitalong, which goes until the end of February, so there is still time to join in. And they will gift 2 patterns to the prizes. And both of those are mitten patterns that are charted, because their patterns are only Norwegian, but they're charted, so you don't really need language to follow a chart. So they will be giving away this one, and another one which is more plain. I will put in a photo here, and that will be along with a bag from the Urban Stitcher and my selbu cowl pattern and 2 skeins of fennel for that. So, but that's until the end of February, so you have plenty of time to cast something on or find a whip in one of your many bags, or something that's stowed away that could get some love. So let's sit and knit for a bit, and also grab something to drink. Next to my little Nisse, I have a cup of hot cocoa, now cold cocoa, with marshmallows, and it's wearing a cup cozy which I got for Christmas from my cousin's girlfriend. She's a relatively new knitter, but she's so skilled already, and she's making these little cup cozies, and I got one for Christmas. And I think it's just the cutest. And it's good for these kind of cups that don't have hanks when you have something really warm, because then you don't burn yourself. So that's really nice. So, what have you guys been knitting on this Christmas? Have you casted on something new, or are you working on your whips? I'm doing both. I am wanting to cast on something entirely new, but I do have my cabled sweater and my Aito shawl, which I do want to get a little bit of work on. I don't want them to become UFOs, so now that I have today off, I'm going to continue on my cabled sweater, and then I'll probably find something new to cast on for the New Year's Eve weekend, because then I'll be around family, and I want something a bit more mindless to knit on, something that I can just knit a few stitches on without having to look at it, and that I can just put away. Because like with the cabled sweater, I need to follow different charts that I have for the cables and always remember which row I'm on. And that's hard to do when you have people around. So yeah, I've been watching 2 new shows while being alone here. The Emily in Paris. It's not really my genre, but it was really cute, so I enjoyed that. And I just started the first episode of like a ballerina TV show on Netflix. Pretty Little Things or something along those lines. And just watching them dance is beautiful. I don't know much about how the show will develop, but so far so good. And with my family here, we watched all of the Lord of the Rings. It's kind of becoming a family tradition to do a movie marathon during Christmas. 2 or 3 years ago, we were watching Star Wars and Indiana Jones and Harry Potter and now Lord of the Rings, which my brother hadn't watched. He thought they were too long, so I guess he never bothered. But we kind of broke it up into pieces, so we watched half a movie because they're 3 hours long. And then we would do something else and then watch it again. And that way we got through all 3 Lord of the Rings in between skiing and good food and warm beverages and just a cozy time. And we started The Hobbit on the last day, so maybe we can finish that during New Year's Eve weekend. So I don't know, do you guys do the same? Do you have certain movies to watch? I personally am a big fan of watching movies and TV shows, and I do enjoy rewatching them if they give me a nice feeling the first time. So I'm looking forward to finishing watching The Hobbit, and I started watching Harry Potter with my cousin, so I'm also looking forward to finish watching those again, because they also give me like a Christmas feeling. And yeah, we went cross-country skiing on Christmas Eve. They had prepped up on the mountain here, some of the local farmers have prepped us a cross-country round that you could go on. It's only one way though, so they didn't have a prepped segment in between where you could also cross-country ski on if you want to go a bit slower. I have gotten so afraid of falling. I'm not a good skier. I am not fearless. I am filled with fear and terror of falling. And it's like in my head, I know that it's snow. It's not that hard to fall. I'm not going that fast. But I've always been afraid of falling, and after breaking both my elbows this summer, I am just so scared. So I don't think it was that much fun for my family to ski with me, because I was going as slow as possible, and if it was too steep of a hill, I would just take off my skis and walk down. Like, I have no shame. I'm not gonna fall. Nope. I'm not about that. So the second day, me and my youngest brother, we put on snow boots and then let my parents and my other brother just cross-country ski even further up on the mountain. Like, there was nothing practiced, just wilderness. So they just went ahead cross-country skiing, and me and my youngest brother, we put on our snow boots and we went on several like mountain tops, and it was quite exhausting, but also really nice to just be out in the free nature, unaffected by people. And there are a few smaller cabins up there, but they're not really cabins. They are called sel, which is little buildings where they used to be people in the summers when they had their sheep and cows up on the mountains. Then there would usually be like one woman or one person living in these little huts, just taking care of the animals. But a lot of the local farmers have now turned them into smaller cabins so that there could be more than one person there. But they're not really used in the winter because you can't really get to them because of all the snow, and it's really cold. And a lot of them don't have electricity or water in there. So, but it's really nice. I wish I had one of those. Could just be there all by myself, surrounded by snow, and have a fireplace going and sit and knit. I think that us knitters have been blessed in the past year, in the sense that we have an activity that gives us so much joy that we can do at home, alone and isolated. And still, we can also connect with each other in the knitting community online. So I think that in that regard, we have been blessed this past year and lucky. Not everyone has a hobby like ours that gives us so much joy and comfort. So here is to hoping for a better, healthier, safer 2021, surrounded by the people we love, and lots of knitting and whatever brings you comfort and joy. So I will see you next year, and I hope that you will be doing well until then, and I will talk to you soon. Bye! bye.